Today, this Ash Wednesday, most likely has been like no other in the months leading up to Lent this year. Have you felt like we've been living in Lent these last 11 months? Certain expected freedoms removed. The ability to visit, to shop, to travel, to attend Mass as we would like, and the list goes on. None of which we wanted on our terms. None of which were welcomed, and all with the high price tag of illness and unexpected death toll, not to mention financial and mental health impacts. Weddings have been canceled and funerals delayed, or loved ones laid to rest at the graveside. School experiences restructured. Each one of us knows someone who has been touched directly by COVID, and it may be you has suffered immensely. And we have made it to Lent. We have collectively struggled through the darkness. We have trusted in the midst of fear and anxiety, the unknown and the unexpected. Our lives have been changed, rerouted, and reestablished to a new normal. And we have made it to Lent. We sit in hope as our minds question this ravenous global pandemic. We offer prayers as we hear of more loved ones impacted. We keep connected through phone lines, FaceTime, and Zoom. Our time at home has been challenging, and it almost becomes too much. And we have made it to Lent. And so it is. We sit here this Ash Wednesday, tired, worn out, frustrated, fearful, and anxious. Usually a day when we consider what we will give up for Lent this year, one might respond, "Haven't I given up so much already?" Maybe so, maybe not. The largest impact of this COVID has been the inability to relate with one another. It has changed our relationships as we've known them. Not being able to hug one another, hold a baby, offer a trusted handshake, or gather as family and friends to offer love and feel loved. I mention this not to make you feel worse, but to consider this. Might this be how God feels when we turn away from Him? Turning from a God who loves us but continues to wait for our hug, our embrace, our outstretched hand, or a visit in prayer time and conversation. When in the midst of a pandemic coupled with division in our country, we still try to put things in our control when clearly we have none, but don't trust God, or maybe trust a little. And we wonder why we can't find peace. I had a conversation a few months ago with someone quite frustrated, angry, and anxious who asked me, "Where is God in this?" I responded that God is in the midst of this mess, no doubt, in the ability to keep our relationships going through creative ways of thinking. God is here in our frontline workers, clergy, funeral directors, counselors, and teachers. Those reaching out with their financial support, shopping for others, dropping food here at church. Those keeping in touch with loved ones, and our prayer warriors. God is in all of us if we pay attention. God is holding us and loving us through these uncertain days. And wasn't God there too for Jesus in His uncertainty? In the midst of His human anxiety, frustration, and sadness. As Jesus' freedoms were taken from Him and the physical suffering He came to endure at the hands of brutal humans, God held tightly to His Son, cradled Him in courage and strength. The Father and the Spirit shared in the suffering with Jesus in their relationship as the triune God. So what is Lent 2021 asking of us? What are we being called to in the midst of our own suffering? Of course, this answer comes from your own heart. Jesus has been walking alongside us with steadfast love over these last 11 months. Can we walk alongside Him over these next 6 weeks? Not out of pity, not out of a place of needing something to do this Lent, but from a place of intentional relationship. A willingness to set aside your own frustrations and anxiety to be with Him as He finds His way to Calvary. To encompass Him with love and care, hold Him close, trust in God, and be open to what may be asked of you. And so we have made it to Lent, by the sheer grace of God. May this Lent be like no other for you. and turning to God in a deeper way as He calls you to accompany His Son over these next 6 weeks.